Vital Voices Global Mentoring Walk takes place on Saturday around the Queen's Park Savannah from 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's in recognition of International Women's Day, which comes up next Tuesday, March the 8th, and a number of events are being planned in and around International Women's Day itself. This international event hopes to bring together over 10,000 women worldwide, and this year's event is in collaboration with the United States Embassy. Well, here to tell us more, we're joined by two personalities who are going to give us information. We have with us Nicole Joseph Chin, who is the Trinidad and Tobago flag bearer for the Vital Voices Global Mentoring Walk. And we also have with us Indrani Goradia, who is originally from Diego Martin, she's a Trini, but makes her home now, for the last 40 years almost, in Houston, Texas. She's the founder of Indrani's Light. Very good morning to you both. Good to have you here with us. I can't say welcome back, because you're here quite often in your homeland. Good to have you here with us as well. Mr. Joseph Chin, tell us what, this is the second edition of the event. Tell us a bit more about it. What's it going to be about?
Okay, great. So Vital Voices was actually founded in 1997 in Washington, D.C. by U.S. Secretary of State, the then U.S. Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, and at the time, First Lady Hillary Clinton, who's now vying for presidency.
Yep.
And it was really started to create a voice for women globally in terms of leadership and other issues that affect women and families and communities. And so the Global Mentoring Walk would have actually evolved out of that organization in terms of some of the other actions that Vital Voices does. And so the Global Walk actually this year will feature 87 walks in 52 countries. So it's really where Vital Voices participants in terms of fellows and other participants from the programs have actually all come together through the Vital Voices mandate to create a walk, diverse walks in their communities to commemorate International Women's Day, but more than that, to also engage in mentoring, in support of women, in terms of their career pathing and some of the other needs that we have, so that we all can have some level of solidarity.
I just want to ask you if there's a specific theme or particular focus this year, but before you respond, let me just tell you that if you want to be part of it, the registration for the event is $100, just a blue note. In these difficult times, it might feel like a lot more, but it's not a Yankee $100. It's still a Trini $100, and it's been devalued all the time. It's now 6.57, by the way. Forms are available online on Facebook at WD Global Walk TT. So just go on Facebook and you can get all the necessary information. By the way, is there a deadline for registration for the event?
It really should be before. Well, the walk is on Saturday at 4 p.m.
Right.
So we're trying to ask people to get more, get your registration so you can pick up the bags, because that $100 value, you're actually getting lots of goodies in the bag as well, including the T-shirt, the commemorative T-shirt. So it's important to register and collect the bags and stuff so that you could dress up to be ready for the walk.
Absolutely, to be part of it on
Friday.
On
yes.
Saturday. So let's take tomorrow is the deadline.
Yes.
But, is there a specific theme this year?
Well, actually, the theme this year, because every year the International Women's Day does follow a theme. And this year the theme is actually Pledge for Parity. So we're talking about parity in terms of equality, equal pay, equal rights for women and that kind of thing. But, for me, I have actually put a hashtag in front of it, which is Be Inspired. Because I believe that to really get to that discussion about pledging for parity and for rights and for all of these other things, we have to first be inspired. It has to come from a deeper place. And we have to also inspire others to have the conversation. So the theme this year for Trinidad and Tobago is Be Inspired, Pledge for Parity.
And of course, you have a hashtag. Everything is hashtag. Indrani, tell us about your organization. You're the founder of Indrani's Light. What is that all about?
I started this about 10 years ago to specifically address violence against women and children. From my past experience in having children and trying to figure out how to parent without being violent. Violence is something we do when we don't know what to do with our anger and our stress. So I thought, well, I was educated. I had access to therapy. I could go to support. What about the woman who doesn't have that? And so I started this foundation, and we travel the world and we do classes to help people look at the ways that we can stop violence in our own homes.
And I'm sure you're acutely aware of some of the very tragic stories right here in Trinidad and Tobago, the stories that make you wonder if we're ever going to emerge from this culture of violence, and more specifically violence against women and children and the more vulnerable in our society. What specific initiatives would your organization have introduced or try to create in the Trinidad and Tobago environment?
Thank you for asking that question. I work here with Public Population Services International Caribbean, and we have an amazing amount of resources through PSI. One of the things that I really want to tell people is we can stop this. It is as easy as deciding to stop. And one of the things that we can do is engage our communities and engage our families in talking about violence. Have a meeting every week to say, hey guys, how are we doing? Let us look at the support that's already there on the ground. In Trinidad, we have many shelters for women and children. So, and I think we have a SAVE. I think SAVE is what you call, to report violence. It is not as difficult as people think, and we have work here already.
And how does the mentoring walk taking place on Saturday afternoon, how does this contribute in highlighting this particular situation?
I think when we create community, and Nicole helped me out here, when we create community around a very important subject, when other women see men and women coming together, then we begin to say, oh, I'm not the only one who wants this to change. Look at how many people showed up who want this to change. And then I would love it to see that people reach out and say, can I get your phone number? Can I get your contact? Wouldn't it be great to then have connections throughout the year? So when we meet again next year, we're saying, hey, look what we did this whole year.
Yeah, because we're actually building the community. So
because
the
I was going to ask,
starts.
in the sense that, do people see these walks? Do they get the message, or do they say, "Oh, it's a chance to lose a few pounds, shed a few pounds, do some aerobics and thing and whatever, have a good time, take some Facebook pictures and whatever else"? Or do they get the message?
I believe the message is actually going to be delivered again this year, because last year we had the first walk. It was smaller. It was, but I think the impact is what is going to happen, because the conversations about, during this walk are different.
Yeah.
It's also the synergy that's different, the actual collaboration as well. One of the things that, I am always very big on is how we collaborate, and that it's critical to bring forces together, because then the outcomes are better. And we actually can also hold each other accountable for results. So in terms of the synergies involved for this weekend especially, and the week that's going to follow, you find that there's going to be so much accountability at the end of all of this that Indrani is not going to leave here without asking me, Nicole, what did you accomplish? And I'm not going to let Indrani walk over Trinidad and leave immigration without saying, lady, what have you done what have we done collectively while we were here? And what's the next step? But before we get to that next step, we have to also understand, are we inspired? And I think we are already. And what is the message? So we're heading down that direction.
I'm sure you would have seen all that has been going on with the conversation in Trinidad and Tobago, whether it's a meaningful conversation or a superficial conversation since the killing of the Japanese national Asami Nagakia. We now have the situation involving a couple of gymnasts and images of them on Facebook, and whether the woman's right to her body, and all of these discussions taking place, which all tie into the issue of women's rights and gender issues and so on, and women and children and so on. What is your own perspective? I don't want to draw you into any direct political bacchanal, but do you get the feeling that as a society that Trinidad and Tobago is coming around to that recognition? You're talking about parity. Are we getting closer to parity in Trinidad and Tobago?
I think we are. I think we are. And I think the fact that you have us on here and you're asking this very difficult question, and you're a very wonderful male model for the country, means that we are getting to parity. And it also brings out that we really need to engage men and boys in this conversation. Women don't want to live without our men and our boys. Women we grow our sons. We really have to. It is not a woman's issue, this abuse. It is a human issue. Hillary Clinton said, women's rights are human rights. So if we don't engage our men and our boys, then we're in a little bit of trouble.
I think
But
you're
in
leaving out half the
Trinidad,
population. They say when men have been accused of leaving out half of the population in ignoring women. Before we conclude, because we're just running out of time, if people want to get more information on Indrani's Light and how they can maybe find out more and maybe assist and work with your organization, how do they do so?
indranislight.org. That's INDRANISLIGHT.org. We have free classes. Everything that we do is basically free. We want to give the tools to women and boys and men to be able to set some very clean boundaries. And I'll give you a definition of a boundary. A boundary is what's okay and what's not okay.
Yes, this is pretty simple in that sense. So let's remind you again, it's the second Global Mentoring Walk. We've established the deadline is tomorrow for the event at 4 o'clock on Friday, because that will allow you.
The event is on Saturday.
On Saturday, excuse
yes.
me. So the event is on Saturday. The registration, we want you to register by tomorrow, which is Friday. It's on Saturday at 4 p.m.
We'll allow, Saturday on, the last minute Trini kind of situation. Yes, but we want the groups, the corporates, everybody to come on board, get on board, bring your colleagues, and come join the walk with us.
$100. We get a lot that goes with it, apart from shedding a few pounds as well, or a few kilograms if you work hard enough. And you can get all the information on Facebook as well. Coming up towards 7:17 in Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be back after this.